Good morning. This is Keith Pickering Walters with Granada High School's Studio Broadcast Productions program. We're back today with our fourth installment of the Lead Editor's Training. So far, you have learned to synchronize audio and video files in Final Cut, insert placeholders, replace placeholders with segments, key the background out and insert a background. Today, we'll be looking at inserting and adjusting B-roll so that it looks good next to our anchors. This is really a task for one of the computer graphics generators, which, if your director has picked someone for this position and they are trained, can save you a lot of time. If not, it's one more thing on your plate to complete as lead editor. Now that we have our backgrounds all organized, let's clean up our timeline a bit. We don't need these background pieces anymore, so we'll select them and delete them. If you didn't export out part 3 at the end of the video, this is a good place to do that. Select your timeline or your project file, and then click on the Share button. Choose Master File. We'll check our settings to make sure that we are at H.264 for the video codec. We can check our duration and see that it's 7 minutes, 19 seconds, and 3 frames long. Click Next. Locate your Lead Editor Exports folder and name this file Lead Editor Background Creation Practice by your name and your partner's name. Then click Save. If you haven't already, when the file is done exporting, turn it into the proper folder on the server.
Any boys interested in playing golf this spring?
The first story includes tryouts for golf. If we go to the internet, we can find the website for the LivermoreGranadaBoosters.org. There are 2 wonderful photographers, Bob Bronson and Adam Clark, and we have permission to use any of their material from this site for our program. Here we have a golf bin of photos. You can see that Livermore players are probably in green and gold, while Granada players are probably in black and gold. While these are still images, they are shot in such rapid progression that I can pull down a sequence of photos from the same shot, and we will be able to make an animation from it. Here I'll choose the first image that I want to select, then I'll right-click on it and choose Save Image to Download. Then I'll advance to the next picture and again choose Save Image to Download. Then I'll choose the next, Save Image to Download, and so on until I have the whole batch. And I'll keep doing that until I run out of images in that particular sequence. And there we go. If you haven't already, stop this video, go to www.livermoregranadaboosters.org and locate a sequence of images. You can use the same ones that I did or a different sequence. Once you've found a good sequence, download all of those images to your Downloads folder. Now that we're back and you've downloaded those images, go ahead and create a new event called Golf Animation. Click the box that says Create New Project along with it. Select the Golf Animation event and change that new project name from Untitled to Boys Golfer Animation. Then import media. Go to the Downloads folder and import the files that match your sequence. In the Import window, choose to copy the files to your library because you do not have those files anywhere else other than in your Downloads folder. I'll choose the photos in the event and drag them to the timeline. In the Video Properties pop-up menu, set the frame rate to 24 frames per second. This will help it to match animation. We can also set it to 4K video because these photos have a high enough resolution. When you have that set, choose OK. Now if I play the timeline, each image plays for 10 seconds. That's the default. Highlight all of your photos in the timeline, right-click on one of them, and change the duration. Set the duration to 2 frames by typing the number 2 on the keyboard and hitting return. Zoom in on the timeline with Command+ several times and slide back to the beginning of your timeline. When you play that, you'll notice that it looks like an animation. Now, try setting the duration to 1 second. 1 frame here looks weird. It's because the camera moved between the second and third photos. So delete the first 2 images. Now we can play it and see how it runs. It's a bit fast, so let's try it again at 2 frames per second. Select all of your clips, right-click on one of them, change the duration, press the number 2 on your keyboard, and press return. Now, let's set the duration to 3 frames and play the timeline. Now, let's set the duration to 4 frames. If you notice under the monitor here, after I choose to change duration, the color changes from white to blue. I press the number 4 on the keyboard, and it places that 4 there. Then, hitting return locks that value in. Very similar to how we change clip names in Final Cut. If I type in 400 and hit return, that will make the photos last for 4 seconds each. 4 frames looks pretty good. Let's try 6 frames to see it just a little bit slower. That would be 4 photos every second of video. So find what speed you like best and set yours to that. For this practice, I will set mine to 4 frames. We now need to nest these images all into one video clip. Highlight all of them, right-click, and choose New Compound Clip. That bundles or nests all of the images into one video clip. Name that video clip Boys Golfer Animation Clip with how many frames per second you did them at. Now, move those compound clips over to the B-roll event. We can go back to our project timeline for the video El Aviso. Drag one of your animations down to the timeline and place it above the video track. We can see that the image is much larger than we need it to be. While it is highlighted, click on the Transform button. Grab one of the corner bounding markers and drag inward to shrink it. Where to place the clip is a struggle for some students. I'm going to go to the Monitor View drop-down menu and choose to view Title Action Safe Zones. This displays the Action Safe Zone, which is 90% of the frame, and the Title Safe Zone, which is 80% of the frame. Safe zones are boundaries that we want to follow because different media and different televisions or viewing devices can shift an image slightly, which would cause you to lose some of your titles. I'm going to choose to place the video so that its top and side line up with the Action Safe Zone. So when she reports on this, you can see the animation we created pop in and then leave the frame. Now zoom in on your timeline and recenter it over the B-roll clip. As Aaron talks about it, it comes on, displays, and goes away. But it sort of flashes in. I'm going to click on the Transition Palette button. I'm going to use a cross-dissolve transition and drop it on the clip of B-roll. This transition changes the opacity of the clips. It starts to fade in, but doesn't complete the fade in for 4 photos. Grab the side of the transition with the handlebar and shorten it to 1/2 second. Do the same for the fade out, then play it and see if you like it. There are many other things that we can do to make the B-roll stand out, but this is good for now. Now let's play the video and see what we have.
Any boys interested in playing golf this spring? Tryouts will be coming soon. Tryouts will be held from Monday, January 28th through Wednesday, January 30th.
You can see here that we only have B-roll for part of her story. I would like you to go back to the Livermore Granada Booster site and download enough images for 2 more animations. Create those animations just like we did the first one. After you have created the compound clip, drag the compound clip from the golf animation event to the B-roll event. I would like you to then add your second one to the timeline above the anchor video, but a little bit down from this animation. Then leave a little space and place your third animation. Put cross-dissolve transitions on each one and shorten them just like we did this first one. This will take you some time, so stop the video here, create those other 2 animations in new project timelines. You can call those timelines Golf Animation 2 and Golf Animation 3. Replay the video when I was creating the animation if you need to, but don't go on in this video until you have completed this task. Now that you have finished your animations and placed all 3 animations as B-roll in your first story, let's continue.
Spring sports registration is open. All athletes interested in playing a spring sport need to register at athleticclearance.com and must have an updated physical on file by Monday, January 28th.
This story is about athletic clearance specifically. Now, if we look through our B-roll folder, we can see that we don't really have anything specific to athleticclearance.com. Since we don't have any, go to the internet and type www.athleticclearance.com in the URL bar. Here is their website. Click on California. Now they have a video. We could pull a little piece of their footage and use it, but I'm going to create a screenshot by pressing Command-Shift-4. This is different from the Command-Shift-3 screenshot that captures your entire computer screen. Command-Shift-4 changes your cursor into this icon. Place that icon in the upper left corner of what you want to capture. Click and drag the box around the area you want to capture and let go when you are at the bottom right-hand corner. This will make the camera clicking sound. Now go to your desktop and you will see a screenshot that was created. Change the name of the screenshot to athleticclearance.com. Now we can go to our B-roll event, choose to import media, point to your desktop, and select the file you just created. Double check to make sure that you are adding to the existing event B-roll and you are copying to library. Once it is in, drag it down above Janine's story. Her story isn't that long, so we'll shorten this clip by grabbing the side of it with the handlebars and dragging them inward. When I put my playhead over the clip, I can see that it's huge. I'll highlight it to select it, click the Transform button, and shrink it like we did the other images. Make sure that you pull from a corner to maintain the image's proportions. Because this clip is much wider than it is taller, I'm going to bring it down to the 80% title safe zone marker rather than have it at the 90% action safe zone marker. After we drag that B-roll into the timeline, we can place the dissolve transition on it and shrink down the transition to about 30 frames. Let's see how that finished story looks with its B-roll.
Registration is open. All athletes interested in playing a spring sport need to register at athleticlearance.com and must have an updated physical on file.
That works pretty good. Let's check the next story.
Hey seniors, there are scholarships available. The College and Career Center has information about the LAM Research Core Value.
Let's see if we have the LAM Research logo. Now this one looks just black. Let's drag it down into the timeline above the story. Final Cut displays transparent backgrounds as black. Because this image is colored black over a transparent background, so it looks just black on black. Then she begins to talk about the Cal RTA story. I'm going to rename this file Cal RTA. When we drag it down, I'd like to make sure that it plays for the same amount of time as the LAM logo. So I'll place it on top of our other logo and shorten the Cal RTA logo so that it's the same size before moving it to where I'd like to place it.
About the LAM Research Core Value Scholarship, the Tri-Valley Retired Educator Scholarship, and many more.
Now, to resize the images, I'll place my playhead directly over the image. I'll go to the inspector and change the scale or size to 50%. I'll then move it with the transform tool over to the action safe zone border. I'll do the same for the Cal RTA. But now I can see that it's a little too large. I'll shrink hers a little bit more and move it to the action safe zone border. The titles and generator palette up to the left will allow us to choose any type of material that we'd like to in the generators that we can place behind our images. I'll drag this one and place it in the timeline behind my LAM Research logo, but in front of our anchor. The generator makes this logo stand out, but it also covers our anchor. I'll shrink the generator by transforming the scale, and we can move it into the correct location behind our LAM Research logo. Now that I can see it with a solid background, the LAM B-roll looks a little large, so I'll adjust their scales a bit more and adjust them. Now we can place the same cross dissolve that we've used on our golf B-roll so that the B-roll fades in and out. I'll just adjust the lengths of this transitions. Let's see how that looks.
Center has information about the LAM Research Core Value Scholarship, the Tri-Valley Retired Educator Scholarship, and many more.
Now watch this again and see if anything looks odd to you.
Has information about the LAM Research Core Value Scholarship, the Tri-Valley Retired Educator Scholarship, and many more.
First, we can see that the registered trademark R is just slightly hanging off the generator, so we can adjust that. The white comes in solid though, while the LAM fades in. Then the LAM fades out and the white disappears. That's because the white generator does not have transitions on it. I can add those transitions to the generator and adjust them, and when it's done it looks pretty good. But that's a lot of extra steps. Before adding transitions, if I select the white generator and the LAM logo together, I can make them a compound clip by right-clicking on one of them and selecting Make New Compound Clip. I'll just name this one LAM Nest. Then we have a nested clip that will act just like the Cal RTA clip by itself. When I add the transitions to it, it affects all pieces of it just like it's a single clip.
About the Lamb Research Core Values Scholarship, the Tri-Valley Retired Educator Scholarship, and many more.
One note about moving compound clips. It is possible to move a compound clip out of its transitions. Notice that the compound clip with transitions has this slightly larger gray area around the whole thing. When moving it, be sure to move it by the gray area at the top, not by the clip inside. Let's see what else we have here.
On Friday, March 8th, freshmen, sophomores, and juniors will have the chance to take a practice SAT or ACT. Students can pick up a test and register in student services or online.
So we have more B-roll to put in. For this assignment, I would like you to use the event for B-roll. Locate the images that you want to use as B-roll and place them in the proper locations in the timeline so that they match your stories. Before you start doing that, though, take some time to rename the files in the B-roll event so that they're easier for you to find. There's a lot of B-roll that you can use. If you need more B-roll, though, there are some options that you have. If you'd like to, you can get more B-roll from graphicstock.com. Go to the internet and find graphicstock.com. Enter our login information and our password. You will find the password inside our classroom. Then, if you're looking for unicorns, you can search it. Here's a neat one where you can actually make a unicorn. When we choose it, we notice that it's part of the new marketplace. Graphicstock is allowing members to upload their own files and sell them on their website. Those cost us extra money, so I'd recommend to stick with the member library for now. If we search golf, we can find a few that we like. This one looks kind of cool. PNG files will maintain their transparent backgrounds if they are created with one. This one doesn't have a transparent background, but it's available as an EPS or as a JPEG file. Let's see how these two compare to each other for quality. Here's the EPS file. When we blow it up or zoom in on it, it starts to look a little pixelated. When we blow up or zoom in on the JPEG file, you can see that it looks cleaner. In addition to Graphicstock, we can also check video blocks. Here we can find videos related to golf that we can use. Now, I would avoid ones with people since they don't really look like part of Granada's team. But there are some neat backgrounds and other short videos. Now, we have access to these sites because we pay for an annual subscription. Ideally, you'll use our own B-roll shot at school by our students. If you can't find what you need, you can use Graphicstock, video blocks, and audio blocks. All of these are now bundled into one site called Storyblocks. If you absolutely can't find what you're looking for, you can search Google. But because of copyright issues, you need to do an advanced image search. So let's try this. Search your topic, golf. Here in the settings, we'll select Advanced Search. For image size, I like to use at least 2 megapixels for the resolution. You can set your settings to most things here. If you want to specify line art, colored image, photo, or clip art, you can choose those. For file types, I like to use PNG because they maintain a transparent background. JPEG files, though, are good, but they will always have a solid background, usually white. When you choose Not Filtered by License, you'll receive everything, including stuff that you cannot use. You can also choose Free to Use or Share, even commercially, which will allow you to use it even if you're selling it. Now, Free to Use or Modify will allow you to change their art. Now, this can be kind of complicated. if we had our material up there and our content allowed people to modify it, that could cause issues if people change the meaning of the show or the stories. These ones here, we can be pretty confident that these are safe to use. If we choose one, this image here is fine to use. We can right-click on it and choose to download linked file as, and save that file. But notice these extra related images here. These ones are not being filtered by the advanced search. These ones may or may not be free to use. So I don't recommend looking at ones in the related area. If you see something cool, don't click on it. Just make sure to stay in the images that have been chosen by your search. When you've finished adding all of your B-roll, I would like you to make sure that your timeline is active. Go to the Share button, select Share Master File. Make sure your settings are H.264 for the video codec. It should be around the same duration as your previous projects. Click Next. Name this video Lead Editor B-Roll Practice by your name and your partner's name. And I'd like you to save that. That's it. Once it is shared out, please copy your file to the server and you're ready for Lead Editor Practice number 5, Transitions. We'll be adding in transitions between some of our segments and intros and outros, as well as creating a title sequence for a segment.